different plants, different voices, and different ways of having conversations. It's time to get personal with plant medicine. Welcome to Getting Personal with Plant Medicine. I'm your host, Diana, and I am joined once again by Christopher Deaney, the man behind the brand behind this podcast. And in case you're wondering, the brand is Christopher's Organic Botanicals. How are you doing today, Christopher?
Great. How you doing? Getting ready for the new year.
Yeah. I'm doing okay, other than being very cold because my heat still isn't working, and it is very cold today. So yeah, at least I'm alert.
Yeah, it's cold in Jersey, so I know you're cold. You're not that far away.
Right. So today we are going to discuss something. We have touched on this before in a couple of episodes in the past, and that is giving plant medicine to your pets. Now, before we were focusing specifically on CBD and functional mushrooms, and I've been wanting to talk about kratom and dogs and cats and all the animals for a long time, but I have yet to find someone who is willing to go on record and really discuss their opinions and their experience. But we know that that's not the case with you, Christopher. This is why I love having you as a guest and having you involved in the podcast, because you're so willing to share your experience. But before we start, really quick disclaimer, we are not veterinarians and we are not making any medical claims. We're just speaking from personal and anecdotal experience. So that being said, I know you've talked about this quite a bit. I know you recently posted on social media, which was just perfect timing, about it. So let's start at the beginning. How have you given kratom to your animals, or have you given? Which animals have you given them to? Because I know It's more than one.
Sure. Well, over the years, I've had kratom trees, and my one kratom tree got huge, probably about 7 foot tall. But the problem is we let it get too big. So bringing it in the winter in Jersey just didn't work. So we had a lot of fresh leaves. So I actually started with giving the kratom to our dog in capsules, but also at the same time giving some fresh leaves to our rabbits. I saw benefits in both of them, but the major benefit was our dog. Yeah, I saw him just be able to be like a puppy again and run around and be able to get upstairs without pain. So it was amazing.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's a 14-year-old mix. He's a pit bull mix, but I don't know if he's all blue nose or whatever, but he's all pure breed pit, but he was born with bad knees. So ever since we had him, we noticed he wouldn't run around the backyard with the other dogs. He kind of just stayed to himself. And then we found out he had bad knees.
Which is usually the case with these bigger dogs, for sure. I mean, small dogs have a lot of issues when they get older as well, but I think it's kind of something to expect. So I had a smaller dog. I think I've told you that before, but I wish that I could have given him kratom while he was still alive. I was just afraid to give him the wrong dose, give him too much. Also, he was extremely picky, so it was difficult to mix things into his food. So I know you can't give like exact dosing instructions. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit more later as far as like the weight and everything. But do you have any suggestions about how you can get a dog to digest kratom?
Sure. When I first started it with our dog Eli, I started with 1 capsule in his food to see how he would react. That was 420 milligrams, so a little less than half a gram.
Okay.
I didn't notice much, maybe a little bit increased energy, but, he was still kind of, limping a little bit, not really running up the stairs or playing. When I increased that to 2 and then 3 capsules, I noticed an instant change to where that 2 or 3 capsule range was really good, which was a little over a gram of kratom powder.
Okay.
So when we started at about those 3 capsules a day, it seemed to be the sweet spot for him. And he's about 75, 80 pounds. As he got older, his pain got worse, especially in the winter. We upped it to 3 capsules in the morning, 2 in the evening. So 5 capsules a day, which is 2 grams of kratom total.
Okay. And what made you choose to use the capsules in lieu of the powder? Is it more of a dose, like an exact dosing, or?
Yeah, it was easier as an exact dosing, and we can cover up the taste. When I mix it in with his food, you can mix the capsules in with his food and cover that up with, like, we cook him ground beef.
Hmm.
So you got the ground beef flavor with the grease, with the vegetables, and the capsules kind of mix in with that flavor, and he doesn't taste it. Occasionally, he will bite into a capsule and just shake his head like this.
Oh, so you put the
But
whole thing in. You don't like open the capsule and dump it in.
no, not at all. Yeah, I put the whole
Oh,
capsule in, the shell and all, which we use the vegan capsules.
okay.
So I don't use anything that's animal products. So we use the vegan capsules. They digest better as well. And like for humans, I don't always suggest capsules. I suggest just using the powder because
Because
it
there's a
digests.
delay, right? And
Yeah, there's a delay.
also I
So
saw someone say on social media recently that you need more capsules, or humans, might need more
yes.
capsules than they're realizing, because they might take two and think that that's enough, but it's actually not really, right?
And that's the hard part about kratom in general. Everybody's physiology is different. Like
Hmm.
we might say on our packaging, start with 2 grams. 2 grams seems to be a good starting point for most people. But there's other people where they could take 1 gram and that works fine. There's other people that take 9 grams at a time. So it depends on the physiology, what people are going through, what you're using it for.
Hmm.
So I was using it for Eli for pain. So with pain, you always want to try a little bit more for the pain relief. Like with me, I take kratom for pain. I don't really get the energy from kratom because I take about 5 grams.
Yeah, neither do
So
I.
I,
I don't get
I don't
any
get the energy.
energy.
So in the beginning I did, and that was only from the whites,
Mm.
but the whites and me don't agree. It's just a little too much for me, and I stick with the greens and reds.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, I have not gotten it from green. I don't get energy from green, really. I mean, it gives me a little bit of a mood boost, I think.
Yeah,
But white was like, oh wow, nope, too much energy.
too much.
I have too much anxiety as it
Yeah,
is. The
it'll
white just,
overboard you.
yeah, it was too much. But some people, they can take white every day and be completely fine. So,
I know people that take white and go to bed. So
that is wild to me, especially as I get older. Because
yeah, there's no way. Mm-mm.
so, those of you out there who have older pets, you're probably dealing with some type of arthritis, or you might have dealt with some, as they get older, they're dealing with some type of pain issues. A 2017, I don't know why I read that weird, review of kratom's effects on chronic discomfort in rodents reported that it showed measurable results in discomfort-related assessments. And so, I mean, I understand that rodents are different mammals, but they're still mammals, right? So it seems like it would apply to other animals. And I
Yep.
know that there is a little bit of a caveat here, because like cats, they do metabolize differently than dogs and so on and so forth. But I've also been reading a lot about people using kratom in their farm animals. And I think that you've also heard some experience about that as
Yes.
well, right?
Yep.
What are some of the testimonials you've heard from your customers as in regards to pain relief for pets?
Well, we had for years, we've talked about it, have given Eli a little bit of the capsules. We've had the question here and there. We did write a blog post finally a couple of years ago on it. And we just find that the people that try it, most people are trying a couple capsules in with their dog's food, mixing it in 1 or 2 capsules, maybe 3 capsules, and they're reporting the same thing. They're like, my dog's playing with his toys again. He's playing like a puppy again. We have our local Salem County Chamber of Commerce. One of the people there was like, well, I really hear it works for, people and everything, but I'm kind of curious how it's going to work on my 13-year-old dog. And it was a little like 10-pound dog. I said, try 1 or 2 capsules in their food. I gave them bottled capsules. Not even 5 hours later, they called me and were like, oh my God, I put 2 capsules in there with the food. My dog's running around like a puppy again. And I was like, it's amazing. So we went to our local vet who also handles farm animals and gave them a bunch of samples years ago. And they've tried it here and there to, see what they can do. Even though we're all still learning about it, they don't, as a vet or a doctor, they don't want to go recommending it yet until we have more studies that are public. Once we get all this misinformation out there, I think it'll be a lot better. People will feel happy to talk about it and be like, wow, there's a plant that can help my dog or help my cat or horse or whatever it is, or person. But, we'll get there. We will get there, and everything we've seen is very positive. I
That's
haven't
awesome.
heard anything negative.
I think also it would help someone if they're looking for a vet to give them advice about kratom to try and find ones who are friendly with, or CBD friendly, I should say, right?
Yeah,
If they're carrying CBD or promoting it, chances are they will be open minded about
correct.
kratom.
Yep,
Because I mean, I know veterinarians are different than human doctors, but I think that the lack of research will keep them from necessarily promoting it, right? Because,
yes.
I mean, I even know I've heard of some vets that do promote CBD, but not publicly. They're not ready to,
Yep,
like, if it works for your dog. And I also think it's when the dogs get older, when they get into the, 12, 13, 14, it's kind of like, well, whatever makes them comfortable, right?
correct.
But we're talking about like night and day difference here, We're not talking about palliative care. We're talking about, them like with your dog. And I've read some Reddit threads where people are talking about their 14-year-old dogs going from not even being able to walk to playing with their ball and like
Yep.
being happy. So, I mean, it is a huge difference, and I feel like, the more we share these stories, the easier it will be to talk to medical professionals regardless of who they treat, right?
Yep.
And there is some research out there. In 1972, it was observed that doses of up to 920 milligrams of mitragynine, I can't say that correctly, mitragynine, how do you say it?
Either mitragynine or mitragynine.
Mitragynine, okay, I can handle that one.
I know the
Mitragynine.
scientists say mitragynine. So
Mitragynine. Oh, that's kind of sounds cool. But anyway, it says that it was well tolerated with no mortality in dogs. So that's really encouraging. I know it's very old, but it's also proving the point that these plants have been used for centuries for so many different reasons, and there's a reason why we don't know about this research unless we dig for it, right? Like,
and that's a crazy amount.
yeah,
That's a crazy 920 milligrams per kilogram.
wow,
That means that's basically like that's insane.
yeah,
That's an insane amount.
yeah. And then in 2020, there was a study done on beagles, kratom use in beagles, and it was discovered to be extraordinarily safe, with only one dog exhibiting symptoms of allergy after 1 milligram per kilogram. Did I say that correctly?
Correct.
Okay. And that was swiftly fixed with some Benadryl. So it sounds like there is some really encouraging information. It also said that oral availability for kratom in dogs was shown to be 69.6%, which is much higher than rats. Do you understand that? Because I don't really understand that.
Yeah, let me reread that. I still was getting my brain wrapped around getting the calculator out about the 920, what was it, 920 milligrams per kilogram. That's like, for an 80-pound dog, that's like giving them 320 grams of kratom. Like, it's
Oh,
insane amounts.
maybe it's a
Insane
typo.
amounts.
I don't know.
It, it's a lot.
That is
Wow.
a lot.
And it was the study, it was discovered. Yeah, there was another beagle study too, as well. 1 milligram per kilogram. So, that's, that's why I said the 920. That's crazy. 1 milligram per kilogram makes a little more sense. That would be like a 50-pound dog, or say 110-pound dog would be 50 milligrams.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, since we're talking
So
about it, why don't we talk about how you would determine what a dog should use based on their weight? Because I know you have a guide on your website and your blog. Do you want to
yes,
take a minute to talk about that?
sure. Just pull it up so I don't say it wrong. Yeah, so we have seen, and what I've seen from other people and anecdotal reports, and actually some studies from the University of Florida for veterinary, what it looks like for a kratom dose for stimulating effects on a small dog would be 1 gram. For a
Okay.
medium dog, about 1.5 grams, and for large dogs, about 2 grams. Calming effects for small dogs, about 1.5 grams, medium dogs, 2 grams, and large dogs, 2.5. Then you go to sedating effects, or I would say, more of the relieving effects, if that's what you're shooting for.
Hmm.
Small dogs, 2 grams, medium dogs, 2.5 grams, and large dogs, 3 grams. Like I was saying before, Eli's 75 pounds. He gets about a total of 2 grams a day. So that does fall within the calming effects for medium, large dogs.
Okay. And what do you think it means when it says oral availability for kratom in dogs was shown to be higher than the rats? What does that mean?
The I can't even talk that. Oral availability would be how much the kratom is bioavailable
Okay.
in the body. How much is it available? Like with us and humans, I forget the exact amount, but we take 5 grams of kratom powder. Everybody was saying like how the 7-OH or 7-OH and it turns from mitragynine to 7-OH in your body. You're only absorbing maybe 20-30% of that. And out of that, the rest of it's just waste. So you're not getting, even if you took 400 milligrams of mitragynine in one shot, how much of that's actually going to your system, becoming bioavailable or getting excreted?
Oh.
So that's how much. So the oral availability in kratom for dogs are shown to be 69%. That's pretty good. I think that's higher than humans, from what I understand.
It seems like it would be.
So I think humans might be 30% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're still getting the studies out. I don't know exactly, but if that's the case, then the bioavailability for kratom might be 3 times higher than humans.
Wow.
Or something like that.
Are dogs going to be our way into normalization?
I hope so. I hope they really start using it because it makes them so happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they're not in pain.
Oh, I know.
So
I wish I had tried it, honestly. I regret not trying it. I mean, I really don't think he would have eaten it because, like you said, you put the whole capsules in there, but I don't.
I was right about my guess. It was 21% is the bioavailability of mitragynine in humans.
Wow.
So if dogs are 69%, then it's about a little over 3 times more bioavailable for dogs than humans.
Wow. So since we're talking about studies, there is another one that is being conducted currently about the possible effect on canine arthritic pain, and that seems to be that's exciting for me to see that they're continuing these studies. But have you heard any similar developments in the veterinary world? I know that you hear from a lot of people, and I know you just spoke about your vet, but have you heard of any other vets who are open to kratom or have used it?
Yeah, the 2 vets that I was mentioning, we had a vet for our rabbits, which was why they're considered exotic pets. I have no idea. It's a rabbit, but it went to a different vet, and I talked to them about kratom as well and explained to them, and they seemed interested. But when they went into like, well, what about the studies? I showed them some studies online. They were interested, but weren't ready to jump. That was what I've understood. But being that the University of Florida School of Veterinary Medicine is studying kratom for canine pain, that'll be good because once they start publishing these studies, then the vets have something to go to. It's just like if we have a Kratom Consumer Protection Act federally, then the states have something to go to. Everybody's kind of like in the wind going, well, I don't know. Well, I haven't, nobody's. It goes back to the misinformation. You got synthetic and natural. The natural's doing wonders, synthetic's causing problems, and people are caught in the middle.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I mean, when you're just doing a cursory search on Google and you've never tried kratom before and you only have 5 minutes to do the research, you probably are going to be a little afraid, right? Like, it's intimidating to see all of these fear-mongering headlines that are conflating kratom with 7-OH and other substances. And so that makes it so important to figure out who you can trust as far as vendors. And I cannot say enough about Christopher's Organic Botanicals. I can't even say the words, apparently. But
either can I some days, evidently. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy the arguments I hear. People just saw the other day having an argument online about mitragynine pseudoindoxyl, how it's naturally found in the plant. And I'm just like jaw dropped looking at it like, I can't do this, argue with stupidity anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You get to a point where you're like, wait, what? I actually mentioned this in an episode with Madeline. I don't know if it was the one that she did with us or if I on her, but I was just talking about how I saw someone on TikTok going on and on about how Kratom was in the plane for 9/11. Like, what?
Oh yeah, I did see some of that. Yeah, what the hell was that tangent? Oh my God. Yeah, that was a couple months ago.
I was
Oh
like,
my
I don't
God, I
even know where
saw
to
that.
start with that. Like, I don't even know how would you even like. That's to
You
the point
don't.
where you're like, I'm out. I no.
No. That's called what my parents used to say, just nod and smile. Yep. Okay. That's all you can do.
Like, sure, okay. So we did talk a little bit earlier about how kratom can boost energy, but in your blog post, you actually mentioned that it can help with dogs, and I hadn't even considered that. To be honest with you, I was just thinking pain relief. Um, which vein would you recommend for boosting energy levels in dogs?
Even for dogs, like most of my times giving Eli kratom has been, I'd say at least 80% of the time is red. And we give them the red capsules. And that's usually what a mitragynine level, like around 1% or maybe 3/4 to 1% red. So not too much mitragynine, balanced alkaloids seem to work well. I've tried a few times with the greens, just green, and it seemed to be a little bit too much energy for him. Like it was just, he didn't know what to do with all the energy. So, it's like, okay, maybe he doesn't like that. So I kind of stick to reds, but occasionally if he's having a bad day, I'll give him 2 red capsules and 1 green capsule just to give it that little bit of balance. So I've had days where he doesn't want to eat. And I'm like, come on, dude, as he's getting older. So I have my tinctures. We actually ran out of it now, but we're going to be getting it made again, the full spectrum oil. It's a black seed oil tincture made by our doctor. And I'll give him 1 dropper of that in the morning, sometimes 2, depending on how bad it is. Like now it's the winter, so I'll give him 2 droppers of it. I go back to the kitchen, getting ready in the morning, getting dressed, whatever. And keep in mind, he can't get off the couch first thing. He's very stiff. About 10 minutes after I give him the tincture, he comes and gets me and tells me he's ready to go outside and ready to get on with his day because he might not eat until later on in the day. I don't want him to go all day being in pain. So I give him the little bit of tincture to get him started. But the tincture is a 6% mitt tincture, 7% mitt. It's nothing crazy. It's not like giving him an extract shot. It's not what it is.
Yeah, can you explain
I
that a
don't want
little
people
bit?
doing that.
For people who don't know about MIT, can you explain what you meant by that?
Sure. The mitragynine percentage and levels.
Okay.
You'll see different extracts, different products in the market. You might have 400 milligrams of mit, and it might say 6 servings, and you can't really read it. And a lot of people get confused. They'll drink the whole thing like a 5-hour energy and then feel like funky. And they'll be like, oh, that didn't mean. No, well, it wasn't supposed to be that way. You're supposed to drink like a quarter of it or whatever. But there's different. I would start with a dropper. Anything with a dropper, just to be honest with you. Because especially if you're giving it to a dog, you want it to be measured, especially for yourself too, but especially the dog. You want it to be measured, and you want to know what you're giving him. For him, he really only gets about half the dropper at a time because I only don't get too much. So maybe he gets 1 full dropper out of 2 sessions. So that's just enough to help him get out of where he needs to be. I have tried some of these other stronger tinctures at a quarter dropper, and it does seem to work, but it seems to be too much energy. Mm-hmm. So there's something there that doesn't agree with him. It's just too much. It's not, once you get past that natural balance, I feel like the plant's not working the way God intended.
Right.
So when you
want to get to homeostasis, and you don't really need to. But I think that is some of the issue with the perception of kratom, because another thing I see a lot is people comparing it to their opioid use, and they are expecting to feel that high, but you won't feel it if you are using the appropriate amount. You'll feel relief. Your body will be dependent on that relief, but you're not going to, if you're chasing that high, you're going to continue chasing it, right?
Yeah. And I've never felt high from kratom. I've never felt high from natural kratom extracts. I have felt high from different products that called themselves kratom that were definitely not kratom.
Right. Yeah. So. And I think you mentioned something when we tried this the first time, about how your dog actually recognizes that it helps him. And he's...
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we're giving him his food one morning. I'm getting him ready, and I didn't put the capsules in. I just forgot, So I was going and put his food down, and he's just sitting there staring at me. I'm like, "What are you staring at? What's up?" And I gave him a pet it on his head, and He just still was just staring at me, not eating. I'm like, "What's up, buddy?" And I looked and I said, "There's no way." I said, "There's no way." So I took the bottle of capsules, give it a little shake, opened up the cap, let him smell it. He smelled it, gave me his little look, and then I took him and mixed him in with his food. Then he went and ate his food. So it was like he knows, dogs have great sense of smell. So he must correlate something between that smell and feeling better. I don't know what it is. It goes back to that zoo pharma, whatever it is, ecology.
Yeah.
Where animals go and seek out plants to help self-medicate.
Yeah.
So when they eat grasses with a upset stomach, or they're out there eating whatever, they're looking for different plants and smelling these plants out and going, "Oh, that one's going to help my stomach. This one," and they just know this instinctually. They just know. And humans, we all used to do the same thing. So that's maybe getting back to that grounding again.
That would be great. I mean, I do think we are doing that collectively. I think it's going more in that direction than not.
Yes.
But you mentioned earlier about giving it to your rabbits. Did you see that they might have preferred the leaves, or do you think that they kind of, obviously you were giving it to them. They weren't like just finding it in your yard and eating it, right?
But they're picky.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I can put stuff in there. They won't eat it. They'll just be like, "Nope, I don't want that." And they're very picky, all of them. And of course, they love their little carrots and leaves and everything else. But I was pretty sure when I put a kratom leaf in there, they were going to taste it bitter and be like, "What the hell is this? Get this away from me." But no, they really enjoyed it. Wow. And then we have people who were professional hemp growers. So I had a lot of fan leaves. Oh. So they love the fan leaves, the rabbits. They love them, love them.
That is wild. I have never thought about that.
They love the fan leaves.
Yep. That is really great. I wonder, did you have any issues with local deer eating the leaves or anything like that?
Not really. Not so much. Squirrels.
Oh, okay.
Squirrels would go, and because we had the tree outside in the backyard during the summer, then we bring it in our little tent in the winter for a couple months, and that just, after a while, it doesn't like that. So, but yeah, we would see the squirrels and birds sitting on the tree, hanging out, bites off the leaves. So they were definitely trying it out.
Interesting.
No doubt.
That is so interesting. I really hope that we can we can have that kind of access in the future where we all have a tree.
That's why, I even wrote a blog post recently about it, why medicinal plants shouldn't be illegal. And it goes back to everybody should have the right to grow their own medicinal garden in their backyard. It goes back to that. If you want to start manufacturing drugs out of plants, then regulate it. Do what you got to do with it. But whole plant, you should be able to grow a medicinal garden, dude. Like,
absolutely. Yes. Preach.
Yeah, really, it's annoying.
You have songs about it as well. I mean, yeah.
I had to get a foundation of some songs. I've been writing them over a while, and I was like, let me get these on here. So I didn't hear anybody have any type of music related to kratom, and I was like, let's have some fun. So I have, I think, 88 songs up on SoundCloud now.
Wow.
That are all related to kratom or herbal or something to that, and I do write them all myself.
Wow.
I do use a little AI for voice because I can't sing for crap, but you know what I mean. I do write them all. So.
That's amazing. You're such an amazing advocate and activist. So switching gears a little bit. Yeah. Yes, you do. I swear. You're my role model as far as that's concerned. What are some potential risks, though, to keep in mind? I mean, obviously, you want to consult your veterinarian ahead of time, but outside of that, what are some things people might want to consider?
I would definitely watch out. My biggest concern with Eli was constipation, because you hear people getting constipated from the powder or the capsules. I don't think he was taking enough to cause any constipation. We never saw an issue about that. I think we mentioned the other day, but it got obviously cut off about the pumpkin.
Yeah.
About dogs eating the pumpkin. We did that with our dogs until they were having problems, making it a little too loose in their bellies there, and constantly running to the door. So I was like, all right, we got to slow that down. But that would be what it was. God forbid, you had a dog that's bad knees. You got to maybe possibly put him down, and you find kratom. You give him like, oh my God, he's doing so much better, but now he's having a little bit problem pooping or something. Just give him some pumpkin. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think that would be the biggest. And if you're giving your animals other medications, that's why I say talk with your vet. We were giving Eli. Eli has a prescription for anti-inflammatories. So my wife can tell you a couple months ago, we he's having a bad day. His Kratom was working, but it just seemed like he was having a bad time. We gave him his anti-inflammatories, and a couple hours later, he was howling at the wall.
Wow.
So we don't know if the anti-inflammatories didn't agree with him. We've had issues where medications didn't agree with him in the past. So he was up at midnight howling at the wall, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, buddy? And he just looks at me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So medication interactions. There you go.
Yeah, and also I found a post on Reddit from an herbalist who gave it to her 14-year-old dog, and she mentioned that constipation can be an issue as it is for some humans, but she also pointed out, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, that rats metabolize kratom differently from dogs, right? Because they have found that in the rats that they did the studies on. But
yeah.
But also she makes a point that because the dog is older, she actually is having it's getting too loose, right? So the kratom is actually a benefit in that regard.
Yep.
So
that's what it does in Indonesia. That was one of the medicinal uses, was diarrhea.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of the traditional uses. They would use it for diarrhea, and also give it to women after childbirth for pain.
Wow. And speaking again of pain, I know you mentioned before about how dogs metabolize pain medicine.
Yeah. Yes, the opioids. I was very shocked to learn that. I learned that this year, actually. I was like, why are doctors or vets not prescribing opioids to dogs because of the whole opioid hysteria? Or is there something else going on? And I read into it, and the science behind it, it's basically when you give opiates to a dog, the analgesic effects wear off before it can even get into the dog system. Like they metabolize it so quick.
Wow.
They're not getting any pain relief. They're not getting any relief from it. It's in and out that quick.
Wow.
So I was like, damn. I said, that sucks. And that's where Kratom comes in as a perfect example of something that, is bioavailable to them, that works for them. And everything I've seen with my personal life with my dog, he does great. He really does.
Another great benefit that we hadn't even thought of is the cost difference. Kratom is way more cost effective than whatever prescription you're getting from the veterinarian. Going back to this post, the woman, and this is from 2 years ago, and the economy is much worse now.
Oh, yeah.
She was saying she was paying $120 per month for her dog's Galliprant, which is essentially doggy Advil. And, Kratom, especially if you buy it from someone like you, from Christopher's Organic Botanicals, it's not only affordable, but it's quality, and you can see the test results. You're so transparent about what is in that package that I feel like there really aren't any questions, but I know if people have them, they can reach out to you. So to that point, let's talk a little bit about people who are trying to figure out what Kratom is and they're a little bit overwhelmed. Let's talk about the resources you provide, specifically the school community, SKOOL, for those who have not heard of it, and also Substack, and also social media, and also your great website.
YouTube and Facebook made it real easy for me. They shut my accounts down last week, or a couple weeks ago. Sorry. I wanted to say last month. That didn't come out.
And they did the same thing with Madeline, too.
Yep. They shut everybody's stuff down. We weren't advertising or anything. We were putting out educational videos and my songs, my music. And they said, nope, that was done. So that's been all shut down. So what we've done now, I'm trying to get a little more active on Substack, learn that a little bit better. We have our school community, which is private. It's not really invitation only, but you have to fill out a form and then I'll approve it and then you can come in and hang out. We just want people there for the right reasons. We want people to feel safe when they come in there to ask questions and not feel like somebody's either giving them a wrong answer or you got trolls in there. We don't want that. So it's a very small community. It's people that are friends, advocates, customers, and people that want to help each other. And Madeline even has the same thing with her school community. So,
right, with her Kratom Stories podcast and Real Talk. And you also have a weekly Tea Talk, right?
Yes, every Thursday night at 7:00. It's a Zoom. You can come on there. You don't have to have your camera on, mic on, anything. Just sit back, listen. We usually have very interesting and exciting stories going on. I talk more about the legalities than misinformation and a lot of problems that we're seeing in the market. Vendor point of view, customer point of view. People want to ask questions about strains, types, science, whatever it is, whatever you feel like talking about. And it doesn't even have to be Kratom. We talk about all herbal medicine. So it's just a place where people can catch up and feel like they can just ask questions and, harass me for an hour and a half if you want and ask me questions. That's all.
Yeah, it's a great resource. I'm one of those lurkers you mentioned. I usually don't have my my mic on because that's usually a chaotic time in this house. But
Yeah.
it's really great to have that community available and to have people who are just offering such a safe space, honestly, because like you said, there are definitely a lot of trolls out there. And,
Yep.
like in any industry, there are bad players, and we have to be very vigilant about those, right? So before we end, are there any products or specials that you would like to mention? I know that you have an amazing reward program, the best one I've ever seen, where you get $1 a point every time you purchase something. But is there anything else that you'd like to highlight?
Basically just our blog. I mean, we try to keep our blog updated for current legalities, information, science. There's just so much going on. We're having problems every single day, it seems, in a different town or a different area, city, of people just don't know the difference between natural kratom and then synthetic products. And I'm not just going to say 7-OH. I mean, it's beyond that. It's MGM 15, pseudoindoxyl, MGM 16. Now we have a couple more that just popped up. 7,9-hydroxy or something else I just heard. So there's problems. So people
Also,
need to
people
know the
not
difference.
being transparent about it mixing with other substances.
Correct. Yep. People coming out saying they're all natural when they're not all natural. And, I just discussed this with a vendor after our call yesterday. I got called and I was like, "What's up, buddy?" We're talking for a minute. And he's like, "You know what? Over the years," and he's been around a little longer than me. And I said, it really sucks when you're trying to have a good botanical company that, goes by the science and you're fighting basically people making drugs. So that's been our biggest fight over the last decade is we're making real botanical products, selling real kratom products. And a lot of other companies out there are selling other stuff. And then people take it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that feels real good." But that's not kratom, dude. If kratom knocks you on your ass, it's not kratom.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
Yes, absolutely. The war on drugs is rebooted. It's the war on drugs 2.0 right now. And so
Yep.
all of those things that you just mentioned make it even easier for the powers that be who don't want it to be legal and accessible,
Yep.
doing what they want. So, yes.
I'm just glad Dr. McCary came out and is separating the natural leaf from everything else. That is the only thing I say is beneficial. The FDA commissioner came out and he said on multiple occasions, we're not targeting the leaf. We're not talking about the kratom leaf. We're talking about all the synthetics that are out on the market. And that really is the problem. People don't see it. The lawmakers are confused. Customers are confused. Everybody's confused. Like, why am I here? Like you just said in the beginning, how come sometimes I'm hearing good and then I'm hearing bad?
Right.
Why? It's different products.
Yeah,
So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you joining me again, and I appreciate
No
your
problem.
support and everything that you do. So, just really quick, tell people where they can find you. I know you already talked about school, but let's.
Sure. Yeah, you can check out our website, Christopher'sOrganicBotanicals.com. You can give our text or call us. It's just the three of us. You'll talk to a real person. You can go 856, 856-581-1265 or 609-202-6880. And call and text us, ask us questions, and we're here to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again. All right, until next time. Getting Personal with Plant Medicine is brought to you by Christopher's Organic Botanicals and is produced by Your Highness Media.